Ladies and gentlemen, Axios. Scoop. Trump in talks with upstart apps about new social media company. Network. This is interesting. Donald Trump has been in talks with no-name app vendors as he contemplates partnering with an existing platform to create his own social media network. Okay, driving the news among the social networking apps the former president and his digital advisor Dan Scavino have homed in on is a relatively unknown platform called FreeSpace, these sources told Axios. It's unclear how this business relationship would work. Trump is famously averse to putting his own money into companies, preferring to license his name and use other people's money to fund his ventures. It's also by no means a done deal. A source briefed on the situation said Trump has not made a final decision on the social network. Quote, it could be any of several companies with more meetings this week, the source said. Trump's senior advisor Jason Miller told Fox News on Sunday, I do think that we're going to see President Trump returning to social media in probably 2 or 3 months here with his own platform. Between the lines, it seems surprising that FreeSpace caught Trump's attention. It employs touchy-feely positive language that's the polar opposite of the incendiary, and divisive social media persona. The one thing I will say in defense of Trump, even though I actually don't think he should, I've stated a million times he should never be back on Twitter, and I think that if he's back on social media, he should learn from any mistakes of the past and prevent any or ensure that he doesn't write anything that gives political momentum to Democrats. Because even today, Bernie Sanders was like, yeah, maybe Trump should be back on social media. Because the entire Democratic Party is imploding. But to Trump's defense, there were a great many tweets where he was positive, thanking people, wishing people the best. It never worked out because the messages that he wrote that did provoke, Democrats, again, I do understand media, political adversaries did not want to humanize Trump. They wanted to paint him as a monster. Oftentimes, however, Trump fed into that. And by the 4th year of his presidency, Twitter was a finely tuned machine for Democrats to just vent their angst and frustration and unhappiness and discontent and venom towards President Trump. So, and it was this cyber reality that President Trump helped create that inadvertently helped Democrats in cyberspace, in this Tron-like world where apoplectic, morally seething and fuming and self-professed morally superior liberals would be able to gain political momentum by opposing Trump online. But anyway, it employs touchy-feely positive language that's the polar opposite of the incendiary and divisive social media persona he cultivated before he was banned from Twitter. FreeSpace bills itself as being backed by science to positively reinforce good habits and make the world a better place. It talks about finding common values and highlighting them so people become addicted to doing good. FreeSpace encourages the public to share the daily actions and content they believe will add value to their lives and model healthy habits for others to duplicate. So apparently the antithesis of Twitter. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Get this segment going because it's really interesting. This is really interesting. The app includes features typical to any modern social media network, including an activity wall, which is akin to a news feed, a customizable profile, and rooms, which are akin to messaging. FreeSpace is affiliated with Skylab's app, a platform for building communities for coaches, trainers. Okay, the FreeSpace app bills itself as a social fusion for free thinkers, athletes, and entrepreneurs. Both FreeSpace and Skylabs are run by, So, I've talked about this before. FreeSpace is relatively new. It doesn't seem to have many users so far. The app launched in both Apple App Store and Google Play Store on February 1st. what they're saying. When asked to comment, I have no info to share. Free Space did not return a request for comment. Okay, so whether it's Free Space or anyone else any other company that President Trump uses, what he needs to do is not give President Biden, who is presiding over pretty much a catastrophic couple months of being president, not give him any political momentum, any free political momentum. Democrats derived enthusiasm, energy, passion, a whole bunch of just political momentum from President Trump on Twitter. And it just has to, like my last segment, the last couple segments, people don't want to hear. I don't get it. I understand that, there are a great many people who just don't want to hear any criticism, but at the same time, do you want to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm begging people. Do you want to continue? I'm not talking, the vast majority of my viewers, love my segments. I thank God it's fantastic. But some people are, I'm unsubbing. I'll have you know I'm unsubbing. It's like, okay, so you just want to do what? The same people who are unsubbing from this channel, I mean, we're doing fine. We're on our way to 200,000. It goes from 180,000 to 182,000, and then back down to 180,000, depending on when the news is a lot more interesting than it is now. It's it goes to 182, but I just can't break 182. Then it goes back to 180. So I'm stuck in this level, which is totally fine. 180,000 subs to 182,000. Fantastic. I'm very happy. I'll get to 200 and beyond. It's just me. I'm not offering that much aside from my analysis and evaluation. But one thing I am offering that is important, that everyone should pay attention to, is the ability to look at past mistakes and warn people not to keep making them. So we learn from these past mistakes. Never, ever, I told people this in 2018, never read message boards and think that they're legitimate or of value. They're hoaxes, they're dangerous, manipulative tools, almost certainly by political adversaries. Notice how Democrats finally, because I was telling people in 2018, don't listen to the Q nonsense or whatever. It's all the most absurd. It's a message board hoax that people run by people who manipulate, who manipulate people, or run by people who manipulate. Oftentimes good human beings who just want to see justice or want to see some kind of the people who succumb to message boards want to feel that one day there will be justice, but see, again, you don't want to fall into that trap. A message board is a very, very, very potentially dangerous thing to obsess over, especially since it's a whole bunch of nonsense. Message boards, you have no clue who's writing on the other end of the message board, who's telling you, oh, patriots. So I told people in 2018, don't listen to it. It's a bunch of nonsense, and could only lead to catastrophe. And I was right. I told people pertaining to Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell and all of them, I said they have all of these YouTube channels that they could go on, from the Daily Wire to Brandon Tatum to Joe Rogan to Tim Pool. They could have gone on the top conservative channels, and they could have stated their case, and that would have been much better than the Just for Men melting in the press conference. And now I'm saying, and so there's little pearls of wisdom if you listen to this channel. Now I'm saying President Trump needs to be careful in his next foray into social media. You already have Bernie Sanders now. He's like, oh yeah, Trump should come back. I think that Trump should come back. Bernie Sanders was saying that he was the most, horrendous, destructive president of all time. He was a tyrant. So suddenly, suddenly Bernie wants Trump back on social media? No. Almost certainly, I have no evidence for this, but I can, speculate, knowing the way that Bernie Sanders is very much a political tool of the Democratic Party. Very likely he was given the green light, or he was told, hey, you know what, give your thoughts on Trump, and try to say, he should come back, or he should be allowed back. Because Democrats need President Trump. They need Trump's personality online. Notice how there haven't been any articles. Usually every single day there are 3 to 4 articles on whatever Trump tweeted. Now, there weren't articles like that in 2014 or 2015 or prior. Like, he utilized Twitter in a more, in a less flamboyant or controversial manner. He wasn't as overt in, like this bulldozer, sledgehammer attitude. And if he can just rein in the negativity, like someone goes after him, do not hit back on whatever social media. Don't do it. There's no need. He shouldn't have insulted LeBron James. He shouldn't have insulted NFL athletes because it overshadowed the good things he did, allocating more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, signing prison reform legislation, combating anti-Semitism on college campuses, which with an executive order, First Step Act, I said prison, Abraham Accords. So, ladies and gentlemen, he needs to learn, and he definitely will. And he needs to ensure that there are no pitfalls that he steps into yet again. There's the sky's the limit for President Trump. My God Almighty, I'm coming at you, ladies and gentlemen, from a positive perspective. But part of being positive is to realize mistakes that you've made in the past, and never doing them again. It's not when people say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Well, are you really sorry? Like, do you? If you say, "Oh, I regret this," well, then why are you engaging in the same behavior? If he wants to, in 2024, be victorious, a lot of things have to happen. Yes, I understand, but he needs to not make the same mistakes that he made, especially on social media. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back in a couple of hours.